put together a benefit show. Just kind of, we felt like, I don't know, we wanted to do something, and we had a lot of friends who felt like they wanted to be involved in something for our community. It was only supposed to be one show we put together. We got a couple different bands to come down and help us out. And we played that one show, and then the bar owner said, "You guys are good, you should come back and play another show." So we did, and then another bar owner heard us, "Oh, you should come down to my bar and play at our place." And so here we are 6 years later, and we're still going strong. So I always like to say that, you know, good wins over hate. So
that's right. Light
comes out of the darkness. So it's kind of special that we can, you know, be here for y'all today. You know.
Thank you.
And then Scott decided to introduce me to Woodstock too. The first year we had a band together, he's like, "I got a gig for us." So that's another reason we've been going up for the past 6 years. But I'm glad he did, because he turned me on to something that I didn't know that much about, and we look forward to it every year now. It's our annual Woodstock.
It's our annual camping trip. Except I don't camp.
Yeah, except he stays in a hotel, and I have to survive the monsoons.
You do.
Last year.
I may have to get over here. It's over here. Oh, it did? Oh, there it is.
I spent all Saturday last year trying to keep our fire going, which I managed to do, and I'm very proud of it.
Yeah, my wife is in the back there, and we don't camp because she doesn't camp. Because you can't plug a hairdryer into the ground. And unlike me, where did it go? She needs a hairdryer still. Want to do something that I'll take away first, since I didn't show you the chords on this, just basically E and A.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
American.
No, Misty Roses.
Misty Roses?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then it's just beginning. We're going to do a song that we don't know, but we're going to play it anyway. There was a guy who played at Woodstock whose name was Tim Harden, and he was a folk singer who never really got very big. He was originally out of the Greenwich Village folk scene, and then moved up to the town of Woodstock, and he was one of those guys that's very respected by his peers, great songwriter and great singer, but never really had a great career. And a lot of the reason why he never had a great career was because he had a lifelong debilitating addiction to heroin. And so he was, one of those guys who you could never count on to show up at a show or anything like that. And he just kind of had this his life was like kind of a slow, sad spiral downhill until he overdosed on heroin in 1980 and died. But there was one of our favorite people in the world is a gentleman who lives in the town of Woodstock named Gilles Malkine. And he played on stage at Woodstock with Tim Harden. And Tim was more than a little inebriated, shall we say, at Woodstock. He was kind of clunking into the microphone and swaying back and forth and just unsteady, but they got through the set. But it was enough for Gilles to stop playing guitar for 20 years, he told me, because he thought they had just bombed in front of 500,000 people. But this is one of Tim Harden's songs, and probably his most famous song, I would imagine, is a song called If I Were a Carpenter. So if you guys know that song. Yes, that one. And this is probably my favorite Tim Harden tune, which has been covered to death by a lot of people, but it's called Misty Roses. And I'm going to play it the way that Gilles taught me to play it, which is the way that Tim Harden taught him to play it. Somewhat unusual way to play it, but you look to me like Misty Roses, soft to touch, but too lovely to leave alone. If I could be like Misty Roses, I would love you much. You're too lovely to leave alone. Flowers often cry, but too late to find that their beauty has been lost, along with their peace of mind. You look to me like the forever, too good to last, but too lovely not to try. If I believed in love forever, I'd forget the past. You're too lovely not to try. Flowers often cry, but too late to find their beauty's been lost, along with their peace of mind. You look to me like love forever, too good to last, but too lovely to leave alone. It's what the kids need these days. A little soft music. Want to do high time or something? Oh yeah, okay.
So this is one of my favorite all-time bands, and unfortunately they didn't have the best experience, Woodstock experience, as Scott explained before, thanks to the stage not being grounded properly and the band getting shocked while they were overly medicated on LSD.
Yeah, they saw balls of electricity flying across the stage.
But there is a handful of songs that they were able to pull out that night, and I love being able to honor this band, a little band called the Grateful Dead from San Francisco. Yep.
2, 1, 2.
First thing I remember knowing was a lonesome whistle blowing, and a youngin's dream of growing up to ride on a freight train leaving town, not knowing where I was bound. No one steered me right, but Mama tried. Was the only rebel child from family and miles. Mama seemed to know what lay in store. In spite of all my Sunday learning, going back, I kept on turning. Mama didn't hold me anymore. And I turned 21 in prison, doing life without parole. No one could steer me right. Mama tried, Mama tried to raise me better, but her I shouldn't have said it. What do you got?
Somebody requested.
I think we can handle that. Any particular? Well, let's leave it in general.
The stars make a better.
He can do
If you have the electric, you can do it.
Wait, hold on.
Really?
I got it.
What do you think it for?
That's kind of the I call it the anti-Jimmy because, not because I don't love Jimmy's version, Jimi Hendrix's version of it, but because nobody can do that better than he does, and it's kind of pointless to try. So the best that I can do is just to play it as straight as possible, and in a different key. Let's do, well, you can try it. America. Oh, what? Summertime Blues. We could do that. Yeah. Okay. I'll do this lower octave so that I'm not screaming at the people. This is an Eddie Cochran song that the Who played it. They kind of made famous. It's called Summertime Blues. Ah? Oh, that. Yeah. Okay. Sometimes I wonder, and we're gonna do. Ain't no cure for the summertime blues. Well, my mama and papa told me, son, you gotta earn some money. Cause you didn't believe. Sometimes I'm gonna do. Ain't no cure for the summertime blues. young to bold. Sometimes I'm gonna do. There ain't no cure for the summertime blues.
Or no?
I tried.
Oh, we already did it, Dad. How about we chase or something?
Okay.
How are we doing on time back there?
We have, it's about 6:30, right? So we have about 20 minutes,
Okay.
25, because door closes at 7.
Oh.
Okay. Well, you want us to play in like another 15 minutes-ish? And then that'll give us time?
Yeah, we'll do a couple more.
I mean, there's time for you to like get your stuff out. We're here till 7:30.
Oh, okay.
But the public has to leave.
The public has to leave by then. So we'll give it like another, we'll do a couple more.
Yeah. Sounds great.
Your instrument is thinner than his instrument. Does it make a difference in the sound?
Yeah,
Probably.
I can turn him up, me down.
Equal Alex is secondary.
Yeah, we can never really tell because we have pickups in these, so. It would if we were playing without all the amplification.
Excellent. Have a great weekend.
All right, you too. Thank you so much, guys.
Was Crosby, Stills, and Nash there too?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they were
They
there.
were in our songs?
Yeah, actually, we're just about
You were
to.
gonna, yeah. Problem two, this is a Fender, and that's not.
Yeah, he's right, you know. It looks nice, but it's very cheap.
It goes
It's
well.
It's
little-
more or less
it's-
plywood with some strings on it.
It's a thinner, he has a thinner body too, so we probably should have had that one up a little.
Well, I'm compensating because his physical body is thinner. So I'm compensating by having the thinner guitar.
So
It
your
wasn't-
balance is a balance.
We're balanced. It's very balanced. It's very yin and yang up here.
That's it. So do you want to talk a little bit about Crosby, Stills, Nash?
Yes. They played their second gig ever at Woodstock. They had played the night before at the Auditorium Theater in Chicago in front of 2,500 people, and then the next night they were playing in front of 500,000 people at Woodstock. And Crosby, Stills, Nash had released their first album, which of course did not have Neil Young on it, and then Neil Young, who had played with Stephen Stills in a band called the Buffalo Springfield, joined the band just to fill out the South.